You have to explain to me why you're 4 games under 500 on the road and your goal differential is minus 19, and you've lost, I think, just 3 games at home, and you're plus 47.
Yeah.
The home ice isn't supposed to be that drastic, is it?
It actually, it's kind of funny. Last year we were really, really good on the road. I think we did a record last year for the most wins in Kings history, like in a row. And I think we were close to the league record. It's kind of funny. We started with a very heavy road schedule this year.
Mm-hmm.
And most games though that we play on, we've had a few stinker, like where we didn't play well, but most games where we're in the games and playing well. And for some reason, like coming back at home, it seems like the way Jim Hiller coaches the matchups and everything, it's played in our favor. And then, as you guys know, like when a team starts believing and then you start going a certain way, it seems to get even better. But I'm not going to say we haven't been good on the road. We haven't won as much on the road, but we've been in most games that we've lost on the road. So I'm not, for some reason, none of us seems to be too worried about that.
So the performance is there, the effort's there. It's just the simple result.
We went on a stretch last year where we struggled, and unfortunately we had to make changes. It felt like we were on our heels and we weren't playing the way we expected to play. But this year, even when we haven't won, we still always feel or look the same, as a team. And I think that's what's really important. You never want to lose your identity as an organization or as a team.
You mentioned Jim Hiller. Boy, what a stroke of genius to take the interim tag off. And you and Rob obviously decided that this guy would do something right. And Hiller certainly has, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's a pretty good coach. He obviously he's a smart guy, and he learned from Mike Babcock. I think he was with Barry Trotz, if I'm not mistaken, and he was with Todd McClellan. Obviously, those are all great coaches, and to learn from these guys. And I think he's taken it and then put his own personality into his coaching style. I do think that Jimmy's a really good coach, and one of his biggest quality that sometimes we don't talk enough, he's a really aware coach behind the bench. And we all know the best coach in our game has always been Scotty Bowman, and one of his greatest qualities was the kind of coach, the way he handled the bench. And I think that's a really good quality that Jimmy has.
Can you give me an example of that, Luke?
Well, it's there's an awareness to a coaches. Like, I'll give you an example. You have guys that kill penalties and guys that do power plays. Some guys do it all. Like Kopitar for us does it all, but like Jimmy has a way to understand. Like if a guy doesn't kill a penalty and you suddenly kill a penalty, he'll come right back and shuffle the lines and suddenly put the guys that weren't on the ice for 2 minutes for a quick shift. And then if you're a player that's a producer and so forth, it keeps you in the game. You don't, because sometimes it's easy to come back and go back to your rotation, whether you're going 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3, 4. But like Jimmy has a way to find the ice time for the guys that either weren't on the PK or weren't on the PP for the next shift. And then the shift after, just to make sure all the guys stay in the game. And then he goes back to his normal rotation. And I do think over time that favors the rhythm of your forwards.
I was looking at your record. When you talk about a heavy road schedule early, you only have 4 road games left.
Yeah, we're well aware of that.
You have, and 9 at home. First isn't out of the question, is it?
No, I mean, that's, I think as a team, you always want to reach the best place possible. And we understand where we've been the last 3 years, in the playoffs and so forth. But the goal as an organization is not to win the first round or to beat a team in the first round. It's to win the Stanley Cup. So if you have a chance to go higher in the seeding and it gives you home ice advantage throughout the playoffs, it's a huge advantage. So absolutely that'll be our goal to move as far up as we can. So we do have a chance right now.
And that first place is the obvious goal, but just getting ahead of Edmonton, let's say, and having home ice would change that head-to-head matchup a little bit from what you've seen.
It changed the head-to-head matchup. I think mentally too. When you finish ahead, you're going in. We all know once the playoff starts, after a game, everything is out the door. But just going in and having a good run is probably the most important thing. If I go back in 2012, from the trade deadline on, the LA Kings, even though I think at the deadline we weren't in the playoffs, so we were maybe in by a point. And then we had a really good run till the end of the season. And then by the time we got into playoffs, we had a rhythm where each guy knew his role, understood their roles, and that's, we ended up winning the cup that way. And that's what you want as a team. If your team could get in the playoffs playing really well, it's really hard to lose that momentum once the playoff starts.
You get tired of playing Edmonton in the first round?
No, I mean, I'm not tired. I mean, I'm tired of seeing McDavid and Draisaitl. They're so good. But no, it's like
you wouldn't want to see the format changed?
No, I don't think so. It doesn't matter. I mean, I think we tried 116. I remember the Oilers actually beat Montreal when it was 116 back in the days. It doesn't make sense traveling wise. I think the format is fine. I don't have a problem with that. If if you finish first, you meet different team and so forth. So it's hard. It's just hard to get into playoffs in the NHL. I remember I came in the league, 16 team made the playoffs out of 21. So that was easy to get in. Now 16 teams out of 32. It's hard for everyone to get in. And every team that gets in is really, really good. There's not one bad team that gets in the playoffs. Anyone has a chance to win. There's always the top 8 teams that you're like, okay, those teams really have a better chance. But look, we all love the way Florida plays. Every hockey person loves how good they are. Years ago, if Pittsburgh wins against Chicago at home on that Tuesday night, Florida doesn't make the playoffs that year. They never go to the finals. It's probably a different team today. That's how hard our league is. I think people forget that. That was the same team, almost the same guys as today. And if Pittsburgh beats Chicago at home on that, I think it was a Tuesday night, correct?
Yep.
It might be a totally different team, the story's totally different, which that just shows you how hard our league is.